Welcome everyone. Today we've got some knitting to do. So we're going to use a knitting needle. We'll use the second one later when it's needed. First we're going to do a slip knot. So wrap your yarn like that. We'll use the 3 fingers and the opposable thumb. So put that like that. Now wrap this yarn over this finger and then over the top of that finger. And then come down here, grab that yarn. Okay. That yarn is stable. Pull this yarn up over this one. And then pull the back one. So that this could sit on the front. Okay, now pull this back one as hard as you can. And throw it right over all together and drop it. Now pull on that right there. Now you're going to grab the working yarn. And you're going to throw it aside. You're going to grab the tail. And you're going to pull the yarn closer to your finger. Okay, and then you're going to grab your needle, poke your needle through, let the yarn on your needle go, grab your tail, pull closer to the needle, and then pull your working yarn in your tail at the same time, making sure that there is that space right there, that space, it will help you to work whatever type of cast on we're going to do. So the cast on would be all up to you which version you want. If you want a nice neat look, there's one cast on for that. If you don't want the nice neat look, there's another cast on for that. Either way, there's something called Longtail Cast On, and there's something called Cable Cast On. I will show you the Longtail Cast On and the Cable Cast On. The Longtail Cast On, in fact, has to do with wrapping the yarn around your baby finger. Right, come up over the palm of your hand and then in between your thumb and then around your thumb. And now, Longtail Cast On is that you take your needle and you poke the palm of your hand at your top fingers. Slide down. And then when you slide down, you'll lift that yarn up. You will also poke your thumb and slide up along your thumb. And you'll pull that off your thumb and it will hook onto your needle. So wrap around your pinky finger, up like this. So your yarn should look like this right now. Okay, go up over the back yarn. Right, that comes through. And then, like that, there you go. Now, let go your thumb and pull. That's the Longtail Cast On. All you have to do is repeat that as many times as you want. I'll show you another time. 1, 2, 3. Got it? Got your Longtail Cast On. Okay, go poke this, slide down, come up, and poke your thumb, slide up. Hold this placeholder, always have this placeholder, and then do that. See, that's how the Longtail Cast On looks. Not so clean or neat. Let's pull these 2 off. And instead, you're going to put the needle in your left hand, since you're right-handed. And we're going to do what we call is a cable cast on. Cable cast-ons are basically done doing it like this. Slide this up in here like you're doing a knit stitch, except we're not knitting, we're casting on. So we're going to slide this under, right under the bottom, and it will come out on the other side. So, like that. Okay, and then if you look, this is what the other side looks like. That is what the other side looks like. Just like that. So you should have your yarn that comes out like that. Okay, so that's, first of all, the start of everything. Okay. Now, what we need to do is keep the tail out of the picture. Just keep it right out. Okay, put this. Now, I'm doing it this way, this kind of wrapping. It's one way, that's the knitter's way. And what you do is you wrap away, and then you come around the bend towards you. This is very difficult with my fingers in the way. It's hard for you to see, but that's the basics of it. So we have to start the first thing like that. I'm trying to keep my fingers out of the way for a moment so you can see better, but it's hard. So try to do it like this. There we go. Okay. What we're going to do is grab this yarn, throw it away, and then come up over the needle. See how we're over the needle? Now slide between the two needles, right? Now put it right here, and you're going to grab that yarn, right, that working yarn, and put it through this hole, and then you would have pulled it up. But because I'm working the way I'm working to teach you, it's hard for me to teach this way. I don't do well over cameras. Okay, when it comes to that, let's see, go like that. Okay, now make sure your yarn doesn't come off. Grab this yarn. Notice we just did a knit stitch, right? You would throw this one right off this on a knit, but we're not knitting, we're casting on. So cast on, you take this and plop it right on top of there. So you'll turn your knit into a 2-loop thing. And now you want to make sure that this is loose, that when you put the needle in, it's loose, and then you pull tight towards the needle. Pull the needle down to the front. Now what you'll do is you'll do the same thing as if you're knitting. Go away from you, around, and in between. Now that you're in between, you will take this tip and you will pull this like that, and you'll pull this right out, and you'll go through the front. Some people go through the back. That's wrong. Go through the front. Just the front. Now, always use your finger as placeholders. So, place your finger in between the loops as you pull this loop tighter. Leave it a little bit loose like it is. Loose like that. Stick the needle in between the two loops. Here we go. In between the two loops. Just like. And then pull tighter. And now, go ahead and do it again. Go up, around, and down. That's all you have to do all this whole time around, is to, also your trick is to be very slow when it comes to doing this. The tail got in the way. Okay, is to be slow when doing this. This way here, it doesn't fall off, get lost altogether. The stitches don't come off. Anyways, here we go. Like that. Bring this up. Put the front over. Pull almost close to the product. Now go in between the two. So these two loops, you would have gone in between and created this loop, right? In between. Now this loop and that loop, you go in between, creates that loop. This loop, you go in between, creates the next loop in line. And always have your fingers, like I'm doing, as a placeholder. It helps to keep the yarn from falling off, so, or from mistakes happening. So always have some kind of a placeholders, so place this there. This always keeps the back from getting anywhere. This, you'd go just like that. When you put the needle there, put your finger right behind it. Always, as you come up like that, pull out and put it over the front. I think you got this so far, so I will let you take care of that. And I will come back in a few with more loops on, which is easier when you're not on camera and that you're sitting backwards against your chair with your elbows free. Remember this, always keep your elbows free of destruction. No chair arms. If you have chair arms, avoid them. Better yet, get a chair that has no arms, and you will have the best experience. As always, pull your last loop that you have and the loop before it apart. In between the two, stick the needle through, wrap it over, well, first away from you, pull it away, and then go toward your left hand, and then go up on top of the needle. Now bring the front of the needle down, and then push the tip of the needle onto the yarn. As you push the yarn through, put your left pointer onto the yarn that's on the needle, the loops and everything, and push against them so that that loop you just made doesn't get lost and fall off. And then you'll take the loop and throw it over the front of your needle. Now you know this method, so just continue repeating that until you have, we'll say for now, to do a scarf, at least 20 stitches. Come back when you have 20 loops on the hook all together. Alright, I'm back, folks. Here we go. So far, this is what one needle will look like. Just like this. This is your cable cast on. And it's neat and organized. And it's kind of tight and loose at the same time. Which is simply a good thing to have the cable cast on, because it gives a pretty edging, regardless if you're on this side of the needle or if you're on this side of the needle. It looks pretty decent. Now, for right-handed knitters, we're going to start the knit stitch. We're actually going to do the knit stitch. It similar looks to the cable cast on, except you're actually going to throw this loop right off the tip of that after you bring this into a loop onto this other needle. So bring this into a loop onto here. So bring this, see this loop itself right here in the front, just front part of it right here. You're going to actually put your needle right through this front part, not between the two loops anymore. Instead, you're going to take one loop like that, just that one loop, and put it through just that one loop. Okay? So, there you go. Now, it should come out on the other side of the knitting like that. Whereas before, it would come out between the two. When you're doing a cast on, it would come out between the two. But because you're not doing a cast on, you'll want to do this. And watch out for the fibers in your yarn, as some yarn has some delicate fiberness to it, which can easily make it hard to knit, because you'll poke the fiber and then you'll end up having that thing get in the way. So in the meantime, let's do some actual knitting stitches. Knitting and knit stitches are two separate things. So to do knit stitch, wow. Okay, keep your stitches mostly close together. Don't spread them out because it makes it harder to work with them. The more spread out they are, the more tighter it seems, and you will never get to be able to knit. Or purl if you want to purl the purl stitch. But the purl stitch is different than this. It's similar but different. Okay, take this yarn, do as you were. Throw it away, bring it towards your left hand, come up over the front, in between the two needles. Now, as you're in between, this yarn is going to tug on this yarn, but the back of it is going to go right off that needle. This part, the front of it, inside the middle there, that front, this tip is going to push it out and hook on and stay there. That's going to be your first knit stitch. So to speak, go ahead, bring this like that right through there. Now throw this one off. Now this should be tightened a little bit, just a little tug. Gently tug it 3 times, and now you know it's not too loose. Now always place hold this. If this falls off, you're screwed and you have to start over. Especially if you've done more than 3 rows, it will be very frustrating to even start over, and that can be the biggest problem in your world. So you're going to do the same thing. Going to go through this one loop all by itself. And then you're going to take this, go up, over, down, and then come through here. Now, make sure this yarn right here is held onto this needle, and that other yarn just falls right off. So go through here, come up and around like that. Grab this yarn and do that. Now, placeholder, and that other yarn fell off. In the middle here, don't tighten this middle section ever, but make sure these loopy things are in the middle. They will want to twist around your needle. You'll want to try and make sure that doesn't happen. And if the seam's loose, gently tug it just by holding it. Okay, and a gentle tug will help. If you tug too hard, you'll get a lesser chance of ever knitting a second, third, or fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever row you're doing. The tighter it is, the harder it's going to be to work with. The looser it is, the easier it is to work with. And if it's too loose, then you have all these open spaces that don't really need to be there, and you can have problems. So make sure it's between loose and tight. So again, stick this through there, wrap this up and over, and always use this pointer, right? Hold on like you're touching the needle. So when you do end up going like that, your finger is holding all of these from falling off by accident, and this finger helps keep everything in place here as you do that and drop that one. Now gently pull, and there you go, gently pull. Okay, and now we're going to continue doing that. So you're going to go through here, wrap it over, and fold through, and ta-da. Okay, and then you're just going to keep going, and pause this video, come back when you're all done, and I will show you what to do next. Alright, I'm back, folks. This is what the knit stitch looks like from this side. Well, it looks like some little purl bumps here on the bottom, and on this side, these are definitely purl bumps. Look at them all. Little bitty bumps, okay? As you knit, you're creating a garter stitch. Knit both sides. It's the garter stitch. And the garter stitch, you will start seeing purl bumpy things, plus in the middle, between, you'll start seeing something else, and that's a knit thing, and you just always want to count your purl bumps when you do knitting rows. As always, this is the coolest thing to do. Now, before we actually complete this thing, I wanted to show you something. So we're going to put that mother stitch down below, right here, back on the needle. Oh, okay. Pull that away. And pop that off. Pull that back. Okay, so what we're going to do now, since I have just this stitch left, we're going to take this yarn to make the edges nice and neat. We are actually going to take this yarn and bring it right in front and just hold it there. Now, go ahead, do your knit stitch like normal. And you will have what I call a neater edge in the long run, because you have that extra yarn there that will create the neater edge. Every time you do the last one, which is the edging, you'll want to make sure that you flip the yarn over and then finish your last knit. It will keep your edges nice and neat. Now, you're going to flop this needle into this hand. And you're just going to re-continue the knit stitch, making sure that this does not twist up this section and it stays right where it needs to be. So, go underneath, right, make sure the tail's out of the way. Come up with your working yarn and bring it away from you towards your left hand and then on top of the needle. Now, once it's on top of the needle, you can pull down in between the needles. Do this. And then you will have that knit stitch completed. At first it's hard, so use your pointer finger on that loop that right there, and that will help keep this loop right here, that one, on this needle. If you put this finger on the back of it, now slide off that loop that you don't need. Bring this down and gently pull a little bit. Okay. Now hold this. Bring it right to the front. Always keep the one you're working on over the bump in your needle. See that magic bump thing? Keep that there and just do the knit stitch. Pull on this. Pull up and over and down. On the second row, it seems kind of like it's loose all the time in the middle here. If you accidentally made a mistake, it's good to go back and use the mother stitches on the bottom. They will help you understand what you're doing. But for now, I'm just going to keep going. I can always fix that later. This is just me teaching you a tutorial tip thing, but you know, yeah. So let's go ahead and do this just like that. Come up and over and slide right off. Go like this, come up and over, and see, it's getting much easier. It's doing row 2. Well, once you complete row 2 in a way that it looks just like this, and everything on here is over here, pause the video and come back to it, and we'll show you what row 2 looks like. And that's the knit stitch, just repetitive back and forth. Alright folks, I am back. This is your second row. Now all you have to do is repeat the rows going up, and you will definitely, most positively, have the scarf that you want with the color yarn that you chose. Feel free to go on to a lot of Facebook groups and for knitting and tag Virginia Rose, Zumba instructor, in your Facebook post so I can see what scarf you have made, what kind of yarn you've used, and how well you did. If you want to show me progress, like if you did 2 rows, then you want to post that and say, this is my 2 rows. Did I do good? Should I start over? For help, I can help you out and give you some good feedback. This is the vertical bars. That's what they're called with knitting. But over here, it's the purl bumps. And on this side, it's the purl bumps. So right now you got 1 on this side, and 2, 3. Don't count the very bottom. Skip the bottom one. As you count, skip the bottom and go 1, 2. And then, so right now, this is what you have. Just skip this bottom one. So if you go into the hole and you go up, this is 1. And on the other side, that's 2. So you do have 2. 1 for each side is 2. If you have 3, you're going to see something over here. And yeah, you'll notice as it gets bigger, number 3, number 4 starts to show off a look that is really cool when it comes to knitting. So if you know you're knitting, you will always have a great experience the whole time. So again, pause the video, come back and knit. I'm just throwing on a few knittings for the 3rd row, and when I finish this 3rd row, I will come back and I will show you what it looks like. And you can tell that there will be 3 purl bumps to count. Alrighty, so pause the video and come back. Folks, I'm back, and this is the 3rd row of knitting. Rows are back and forth. Rounds are in the circle. And someday I'll show you the way to knit in a circular place if people want to learn circular knitting. In the meantime, skip the bottom one. Automatically skip the bottom one. So see the bottom? Pick up place like a hole that's there. Stick your needle through it. You're not going to count that. So you're going to go up. There's 1 bump there. And then there's 2 bumps there. So see? This row you don't count. That's the cast on. Never count your cast on row as a row going up into your project. Whether you're doing a blanket, a washcloth, a scarf. Just remember that. The bottom row is always left off. And you always want to stretch this out to see how it looks on your needle. And then from that point on, you'll go 1 up here, and then you'll find the next one down below. And then if you turn your needle, this one all by itself is 3. So right now, you could tell there's 3. So that's it. That's all there is to the knit stitch. You can pause this video. I'm going to do a few more rows and just do something small and show you the cast off. Alrighty. Pause the video. Do as many rows as you want. A scarf can be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way to 100. Depending on how short you want it or how long you want it. And when you're done, come back and watch some more of this video where the cast on will take place. For now, pause the video, and I'll see you in about a few minutes. Also, crunch all your loops back together, by the way, so that it's not too tight to work with, so that you're not stretching your yarn as you move it from one needle, ready to move it off the needle. Okay, pause the video and come back. Real quick, I just want to show you something. When you do count the bumps, count the very top bump, the very top. Like in there's like a top one and a bottom one, right? What you'll want to do, you can see how there's a bottom one right about here, like this one, and then there's like a bottom one somewhere. Yeah, like this, there's a bottom, and there's a top. Well, instead of counting the bottom, always count just the top. So this is 1, and then this top one is 2, and if you turn the project, you will then see that there's 3, and the bottom one, the top one, 4. So far we did 4 rows. Now you can see it working. Just do the top one. You know, look like there's bottom ones. There's actually in here there's actually only 1 and 2. Only 2 on this side. That one and that one. So that one and that one are 2. That's all you have to know. And on the other side, there's only 2 more. So that's row 4. So let's keep working. Pause the video and come back. And if I find any more tips or tricks or ideas, I'll let you know. Also, to keep in mind, keep the yarn that's on your hank, skein, ball, or cake as loose as possible. So pull out as much yarn as you can away from the ball, hank, skein, or cake. And that way here it'll be easier to work with on your needles. Alright, time to pause the video and continue working your rows upward, and come back to the video when you're all done for the cast off. Okay, we're back. Now what we're going to do is the cast off. The cast off is to first start with 2 knit stitches. Ready? Knit 2, and then we'll cast it off with the left needle. So knit 2 on the right needle. 1, 2. Okay, you're gonna do that the whole ways. And then you'll knit 1 each time, but for now knit 2. Small space, not much room, so I have to fight to do this. Okay, I knit 1. Now I will knit 2. Oh look, there's 2 loops on the hook. Well, how do you cast off if there's 2 loops on the hook? Well, simple. You use your left needle to take this loop, put it over this loop, and off the needle it goes. Alright, so with the left needle, use the left needle to help. Oh, I have trouble. The left needle, okay, the left needle's here. Bring it over here, like that. And now this, wait, let's try that again. See the 2 loops? Okay. Now that we have the 2 loops on the knitting needle. You're going to take the left knitting needle and put it through this back loop. Okay, got it on the back. Now you're going to flop it over. That's right. You're going to bring it over the right needle. Bring it right over. And then you're going to pull that stitch just like that right off there, and then you're gonna just push that off. You just cast off 1. Now do another knit stitch. Now use your left needle and you're gonna pop this right into that loop. You're gonna take this front loop and you're gonna bring this loop over the front loop. I know at first cast off is hard, but when you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. Just flop this one right over that one. And I'll flop that off. Now you just cast off. So now what you'll do is you'll knit a 3rd one. You'll take your needle, put it through the 2 loops that are on the other hook. The back loop will be the one that you'll go through, the back loop. You'll use that to lift it up. As you lift it up, you will bring it over the front of the other loop. Bring it right over the front loop. And now you can see the front loop is over it. It's over the front loop. Just like that. Right? You brought the back loop over the front loop. And then you'll take the back loop and move it completely off of the right needle and then off the left needle. So repeat that process and you'll have your cast off in a short amount of time. I'm going to pause the video and I will be right back with the cast off fully off. So knit 1. You got 2 loops. Use the left needle to pull the back loop up over the front loop, and then the back loop should be off the right needle and off the left needle. And that's your cast off with knitting needles. So pause your video and then come right back and we will continue. Alright, I'm back, folks. Now we can show you what the cast off looks like so far. That it's a cast off as you have it. You'll want to do something to close this in, which is create a slip knot and close that in over time. But this is what the project looks like. This is a small example, and this is the cast off all up here. So the cast on is on this side, and that's the project, and then cast off is right there. So what we have here is some yarn that simple to do to bind, to close off this. You'll want to wrap the yarn over this, and then somehow pull the yarn through. You know, it's easier with a crochet hook in the long run. So you'll want to do something that allows you to get the yarn through there. I do this, usually I do this the crochet way, because the crochet can grasp onto the yarn. But, I know, this is hard, the knitter's way. Alright, got it. So now you will pull this yarn up over that yarn. And when you're done, the yarn that you clipped off to make a nice long tail, about this long, you could weave it in, so you'll want to pull on this yarn and pull that whole tail through and create the knot. Once you've created the knot, you can then go ahead and enjoy your piece of art all closed in. Just like this. Piece of art all closed in. And now you can go look in the mirror, wave your scarf in front of you, and smile and say, I've completed my very first scarf, because I never did a scarf before. Or if you've never knitted before, oh, I created my very first knitting project. Congratulations to me. And be proud and go share the scarf with others. And let them know that now you know how to knit. And you know how to knit a scarf. So congratulations to all of you. And as always, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And share my YouTube channel with others. Also click the top notification bell in the notifications after you subscribe, so you can get more videos as I add them over time. My channel is Crochet and Knitting with Virginia. So YouTube / Crochet and Knitting with Virginia. Again, that's YouTube.com / Crochet and Knitting with Virginia. As always, click the top notification bell. Share this YouTube channel with others that know how to knit and crochet if they want some tips, tricks, tutorials, or if they're newbies just starting out and want to learn. Thank you for watching my video. As always, check out my other knitting video on my YouTube channel, and also check out my crochet videos if you want to learn how to crochet.